All right, welcome to Into the Looking Glass. I was going to do a podcast last night while I was tripping on mushrooms, but when you're actually tripping, you realize such things are either semi-impossible to do or you're just not interested because you want to focus on the actual moment itself. So, had a really good trip last night. I mixed two different strains, Hillbilly Pumpkin and Burma. Hillbilly Pumpkin was such a big cap. It was so huge. It scared me like halfway through eating it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a break on that. And ate some little caps, a few caps of Burma and some stems of the Burma. And so I mixed the two, and I've never really done that before in my days of doing shrooms. I usually do one strain at a time, and you could tell that doing the two strains together definitely kind of collided at first. It felt like I had something going on in me where almost like a discomfort. It felt like I wanted to have like two separate different trips at the same time. Like two things were bumping into each other, like not getting along almost. It felt like the psychedelic gods were going to give me a bad trip because I mixed the two strains or something. It's hard to describe, but it was a feeling of almost discomfort, but once you got through that and your body adjusted to, the fact you're on two different strains, then the trip began. It was like, now, Nick and I, we put it like it's like venom. It's a symbiosis of kinds with mushrooms. When the spores are in you, it's almost like a living thing is in you. And so when you have two different, like let's say you have venom and carnage, trying to symbiote your body and try to use you both at the same time. They have to get along to be able to coincide inside your body and, do their thing. Not saying, it is that. It's not like shrooms are completely taking over your body and it's a living, but it does feel like a living organism. It feels like something is enhancing your body slightly because your sight, smell, hearing, all this shit is heightened. Your senses are heightened. And what I want to get at is frequencies. I do believe that we are on the third dimension. But when you're on mushrooms or like certain psychedelics, I think it could possibly be, it's almost like a knob on a radio. You can tune it to a higher frequency or a different frequency. And it doesn't even have to be higher, but a different frequency in which we are seeing things differently than what you are on the third dimension. So you see, a physical 3D world, but me on mushrooms, time and space and how things look are so different and they feel so different. Well, we are on mushrooms because you can't comprehend it fully. You can see and touch things and, recognize them as a human being, but when you're on shrooms, you don't recognize it even sometimes. You can play a game, like I played Spyro last night, which I never do on shrooms, but I don't know if it's a combination of shrooms or what, but I was tripping so hard, usually in that state, I can't do anything. I can't, like I said, podcast or do anything basic, text on my phone or whatever. But yet, I somehow played video games last night and I was like extremely good. My wife was kind of crazy amazed, like it was making her nervous, like how I was whipping through Spyro, just jumping off cliffs and just winging it and stuff. She's the kind of person she has to like slowly walk up to the ledge and then jump and fly and stuff. I was just fucking speeding, and I wasn't wanting to even. Like I just fucking, I don't know, shroom braining it up where I was just fucking extremely fast and good at something that, yes, is basic. It's a kid's game and stuff. I've been playing it for 20 years, but it was foreign to me. As good as I was at it, it still seemed like something new. A completely different experience when you're on shrooms because, again, you're seeing it in a different perspective or a different almost kind of reality. Again, we're not like actually going into a fourth dimension when you're on psychedelics, but your mind might be, just like DMT, because I've done DMT and, your soul literally leaves your body. Like you leave your body for a bit and then go somewhere else. But it's also because your consciousness is going elsewhere, or it's just going deeper in your brain because DMT is in your brain and it's released in traumatic situations like death. When you die, DMT is released to bring you basically a comfort, that feeling of heaven. So people don't realize that your consciousness is going elsewhere when you're on DMT. You can see extra dimensional beings and stuff when you're on DMT because your consciousness is no longer in this plane of existence. So I thought, and I think it just because I've experienced things on shrooms, but being on a different frequency, I'm assuming we're more open to UFOs and, spirits and all this other shit. So I went UFO watching last night. Didn't see anything, but this morning, 5 in the morning, still dark. 1 second, I'm about to take a hit. Got to get my wake and bake on. Still stars and stuff out. 5 in the morning. It's and I was just grabbing some from my car. And I was just grabbing some from my car. I've come down off the shrooms. I'm still feeling good, but the fucking visuals are gone. So I had just taken the night as I was coming inside and kind of stood on the sidewalk and looked at the stars, chilling for a bit. I don't know why, but I started looking at one region of the sky and I noticed a star, but it was like slightly moving. It was weird, like it was just barely moving. And I could tell it was because there's another star like almost right next to it, and it wasn't moving. And then it started gliding more to the point where I knew it was moving. And then, as I realized it was a UAP or a UFO, it just faded out, like, of existence. And it's just so crazy because that's how they always are, bro. Like, I've seen one on a UFO ranch, or no, not UFO ranch, but UFO tower in San Luis Valley in Colorado. There's a UFO that appeared in front of us and faded out eventually. Once we realized, what we're looking at, it seems to fade out. And it's like that on Skinwalker Ranch. I don't know if you guys watched that show or have looked into that phenomenon, but Skinwalker Ranch, man, they get UFOs, UAPs all the time. And it's just interesting because they respond the frequencies on the Skinwalker Ranch. There's a 1.6 gigahertz frequency that just appears. Like, it's just a weird frequency that comes out of nowhere. And when that appears, so do the UFOs or the UAPs. So it makes me wonder if they do respond the frequency, or there has to be a certain frequency out there, like just a base frequency to allow them to be seen or to be, a physical reality in our eyes or manifest themselves. Or like a portal, maybe a 1.6 gigahertz frequency is just a portal opening up or lightening up the this harder frequency that we are on. Because I believe like this third dimension we're on is very rough. It's more physical than a fourth or fifth dimension or anything like that, because we're still very basic, and we kind of made this reality for ourselves. If you think about it, materialism and stuff has just grown immensely in the last 2,000-3,000 years. Material objects weren't, much of a thing. Yes, we had, our basic shit, jewelry and or not pans, but like pots and stuff and weapons and all these things. But now look at us with these TVs and just random shit. I'm in my garage right now, and I have a cat fountain and a fucking gaming chair and ping pong table, all this shit. Like, just think about, like, you think people had all this kind of random shit way back in the day, like in the time of Atlantis and stuff. They were on a fourth dimension completely, to the point where none of this would have mattered. Like, physical shit just wouldn't exist in their reality. Arts and crafts, yes, exist, but not just physical things, especially I would say the electronics we have nowadays. Very unnatural compared to what we could be on. Like, if we went through Nikola Tesla, if he would have, lived on and maybe got his shit actually out there, and there's a reason why it's not. JP Morgan and Edison, they wanted their oil and electricity to take over, and make lots of money off of that shit. So Nikola Tesla was killed. Just allow these monopolies to take over the world. Because we could have been on natural energy where we didn't need any of that shit. If Tesla was able to do his thing. But anyways, I think crystal energy and all that's supposedly what the Atlanteans use and still use today in Agartha and Inner Earth. So, again, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt. I'm just trying to get a little bit of my trippy thoughts out there while I'm still, kind of feeling it. Because I had some very, very interesting things to say last night while I was coming down off my climax. But I just didn't record it, and I wish I would have. But, because my wife was saying something about, I forget what, or maybe she didn't mention it. I mentioned how some people, like rappers for instance, some of them stay underground. They just do their gangster shit. They want to be a certain way. They want to say lyrics and words that aren't allowed on the radio, so they have to stay underground. They don't get popular. People never hear of them. And it's like that with our podcast. We will never get big. We're not going to be a Mr. Ballin or a Joe Rogan or anything like that because we're too controversial. Things we say are probably too out there, and we do a lot of psychedelics and weed. We do our thing. We want to say the things we want to say. We want to be out there and stuff and do it our own way. We're not going to pamper it up or edit it for, a bigger audience like these other rappers and artists do, when they find a major label company that makes them huge because they are making them say what they want them to say. Like they don't allow them to say the bad gang shit or drug shit, and they have to say this or that. They have to stay on the mainstream. And as long as they do that, as long as you're a puppet, you get all that money and you get the, be super famous. That's why they say it's selling your soul, because you're literally selling away your actual creativity and allowing someone to tell you how to say your words and all this stuff. So it's like that all the time. You got these real ass niggas like fucking Dave Chappelle who fucking walked away from millions of dollars because he did not want that. He didn't want people fucking. He saw what was going on in Hollywood and shit and how things are, and it is devilish. It is like selling your soul and stuff to some of these people. So, real dudes like him, they're able to walk away from that because they would rather keep what you would call your soul intact rather than sell out for all that money. And to each their own. If you really are into this physical reality so much so you need all that money and you're okay with, not being creative or letting your creativity be molded by someone else who's telling you what to do and stuff, and that's why they pay you the big money, so that someone can use you get what they want. It's what presidents are. Think about it, bro. I mean, presidents, they're just puppets, and this whole world is just controlled by monopoly corporations and shit, just fucking big old money heads behind the fucking curtain, the Wizard of Oz fucking pulling the strings. There's always, you can call them the elite or the Illuminati or whatever, but there is, it's just money, bro. It's money rules the world. Like, until money, that's what put us in this physical matrix that we're in, this fucking hard ass three-dimensional fucking plane of existence, because we allowed money and time and shit to put us in a cage that we made for ourselves. So, not as detailed and wonderful as I was last night, but these are just some deep thoughts. If you listen, you listen. If you don't, it's cool. I'm just smoking and putting my thoughts out there because the shroom trip got me thinking about a lot of shit. I know we do have a couple of followers out there that are regular listeners, and I appreciate you guys. Whether you're listening because you actually are similar to us and believe, there's more out there than what a lot of people want to say. Like, I'm doing research on giants right now. In the next 3 days, I'm going to be doing a 3-part iceberg about giants. And so many people still criticize the giant topic so harshly. Like they just immediately go, "There's no such thing as giants," and just laughing at you if you ever like think such things true. But those are the people who don't do any research. For example, on TikTok the other day, we do have a TikTok page, and that's how maybe we got some of you guys as followers. But a dude commented on just a joke. Like me and Nick were just joking around. We weren't even talking about like a real conspiracy or anything. Fucking just joking. And this dude though still he like was taking it serious, and he was like, radiation doesn't stay in your body from X-rays. And like he was so confident about it, I had to look it up again and stuff, and it's not true. Like it does stay in your body. Fucking if you get X-rays done at a dentist, the radiation stays in your body for 10 to 46 days. It's just a fact. Like it's a bummer, but yeah, radiation stays in your body. Like it's residual there for a while if you get it done, depending on the amount. But no matter the amount, it still is in your body for at least a week. So I told that dude then, like, no, 1046 days, bro. Like, look it up. Like, it's a fact. Like, you just gotta look it up. So, like, why don't you guys who criticize these things, like giants and UFOs and whatnot, why are you guys not looking this shit up? Like, why? I know you don't trust the internet, maybe, and you think it's all fake, but at the same time, like, look into it, bro. I mean, I have been. I went down a rabbit hole a good 11, 12 years ago, and I still, most of these UFOs, I still, after fucking 11, 12 years, I still don't fucking know what the fuck they are. Like, I've done so much research, bro. 12 years of my life I've spent revolved around UFOs. And I still don't fucking know exactly what they are, but I do know for a fact 100% they do exist. They cannot not exist. There's too much evidence out there, and that's how I am with the giant thing right now. That's what this whole podcast series is going to be here soon, is how it's not conspiracy or myth anymore. It is fact that these things fucking exist. There is too much proof that they exist. So for you to deny means that you were so stuck in this matrix and so stuck in your third dimensional, stupid, ignorant fucking mindset that you cannot comprehend what we were talking about. Again, it's frequencies. They are on such a low frequency. They are not tuned in to be able to comprehend what we are seeing in the paranormal community, or just people. People see this shit, but people who see it sometimes can't even comprehend it to the point where, maybe they'll talk about it with someone, but they don't even know what it was. They can't think it's aliens because their mind is so set that aliens don't exist and all this shit that they're in denial. So, again, with the shroom thing, it's taking you to such a high frequency or such a different frequency that, again, we can't comprehend it. We don't understand it because we're not used to being on that frequency. You guys are used to this physical world. You guys are used to seeing certain things in this world. When you are shown something foreign, something that you've never seen before, your mind can't fully comprehend it because it doesn't understand it. Hasn't seen it before. It's not programmed to understand it. So just let it be. Like, let us do our thing and keep your thoughts to yourself. Unless you have something intelligent to say. I have no time for any ignorant statements anymore. I'm on a mission to put information out there and to hopefully open minds. That's the whole indigo revolution right now. Since 11/11/11, a lot of us activated and started our missions, and that is to basically open up chakras around the world, or through just this, through projecting our voice through the ether. We are just trying to up consciousness, bro. So don't fight it. It's going to happen no matter what. The Great Reset, or start over, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. New Age, New World Order, whatever. It's coming. Maybe not a year or two from now, maybe 100 years from now. Some people even think like 1,000 years from now. But either way, it's coming, and it'll take 1,000 years if you guys keep dragging your feet and not wanting to open your minds to the craziness. So anyways, thank you guys for listening, if you did. So Stay tuned, though. I will have those giant audios out here soon. And hopefully I can get Nick back. I miss our banter. But yeah, thanks, guys.